Hi flower friends, I am putting my shoes on and these are, my husband just got me these new lower bogs. I like them so far, but they get hot. Like I need a summer bog. Where are you, summer bog? Let's start today by playing a little game of where has Nicole left her coffee mugs? I noticed yesterday they're all over the place because that's what I do. I drink coffee all day long and I leave my mugs everywhere. So let's play that game. Oh wow, I didn't have to look far to find my first mug. This is like my favorite mug. We got it in Universal Studios, the Harry Potter world. I'm in the garage and I just noticed on my former employment, News Channel 2, where the news comes first, in the garage. Oops. Up on the porch. Not one, but two mugs. The Bills. And the best mom ever. Oops. I just spotted something. Whee! It's my unicorn mug. Ha! So today I want to talk to you guys about netting and why I use netting on a lot of my flowers that I grow here. And the first thing that I did this with are my Gladiolus. I planted the first round of Gladiolus about 3 weeks ago and they're starting to come up. And if you know anything about Gladiolus, they're also called sword lilies and they grow really tall. Some varieties grow up to 5 feet tall and they get a little top heavy. For me, I'm going to be cutting them when the first bloom opens. So I'm not going to be letting all of the bloom comes up because that's when I want to sell them. I want the buyer to have as much vase life as possible. But for the home gardener, they're going to want to see a bloom in their yard. So they're going to allow the blooms to go ahead and open up, and that can make the plant top heavy. And a lot of times they'll just tip over. And I don't want that. So I'm, as a precaution, using floral netting. It's actually made for this purpose. So I'm going to show it to you. Let me zoom in a little bit. So I've done it on just a few of my rows. I still have a 4th row to do, and obviously I have a couple thousand more Gladiolus to plant, which I did succession planting. That way it will bloom longer during the season, so I won't have all 2,000 of my corms blooming at once. So this is just what happens. Now the Gladiolus will grow up, 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 and then they'll make their way through one of those holes. And those holes are taut enough to where if the Gladiolus starts to lean over to the side, it will keep in that square. Those are 4-inch by 4-inch squares. So whatever grows up through there will stay through there. It was getting a little sunny out. I had to go get my sun hat. My kids hate when I wear this. They get embarrassed. Mom, stop, get the hat off. I don't care. I'm just trimming this. And I did all of this by myself. I didn't need, it wasn't a 2-person job. I was able to do it by myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and set it up over where the Dahlias are. I'm gonna be doing the Dahlias today, and I'll show you exactly how I did it. So this is actually just the first Dahlia row. I believe I have 5. There will be a 6th planted once I get the rest of my tubers in. I planted this patch, there I think more than 50, less than 75. I didn't count them, tubers in here. And less than a week ago I put them in the ground. So the best time to put the floral netting up is now, before they're up. You don't want to have to hassle around with making sure the stems don't break with the floral netting. So I'm going to go ahead and use T-posts with this one. In the garden with the Gladiolus, I use just wooden stakes. It's cheap. I had them. I don't have enough to do all the Dahlia rows, and I did buy some T-posts, so I'm going to be using T-posts for them. They both work the same. The only thing I had to do with the wooden stakes is I stapled the flower netting onto the wooden stakes, and with the T-posts, it has those little ratchet things that you can set the floral netting on and it'll stay, so you don't have to staple it in. So that's one advantage of the T-posts, but also the T-posts are a little more expensive, so it's up to you, whatever your budget allows. So I'm going to go grab those T-posts and start this project. So this is a 5-foot tall T-post. It's got a little bit of a thing here to help you step on it to put it in the ground. They actually make these, it's a T-post driver. It's very heavy. I would say it's 25 or 30 pounds, and then you would put it on and then you would drive it in. For the most part, my land that I'm using these on are freshly tilled, so I usually don't have a problem, but we'll see. I usually just take my foot and step it in. It appears we have a rock, which is not shocking. So I'm going to move up a little bit my first Dahlia, I believe, is in a little bit, so. We might have hit another rock. Shocking, I know. I'm gonna try the other side. Yeah, no, there's a rock here. All right, I'm gonna move it one more time. Let's see if we have any luck right here. That's better. Still no luck. That's better. Okay, so I've sunk it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and it does the job. So now this is to cure. The floral netting is 4 foot wide, and I bought a 328 foot roll of it. So it should cover at least most of these dahlia rows, if not all of them. So I'm gonna stick the other posts in, and then I'll show you how I put the netting on. Clearly these are two different size stakes. Somebody screwed up at the store when they got them for me. This one's a little bit higher. Or maybe my super muscles just sunk that one farther into the ground. No idea. As tight as I can, make sure it's on the tightest 4-inch opening for each. Now this, I'm gonna have to move. I did a bad job. So I'm gonna lift this one up and move it in, because I can't reach it. Just have to make sure I don't hit a dahlia, but I don't think there's one there, because my footprint's there. And I wouldn't have stepped where I planted. Ah, here it is. That's still a bad job. I'm gonna move it out. I want it to be as tight as possible, so I will move it until it's right. I'd rather it be right than wrong. This is so heavy. sword in the stone. When he rips the sword out of the stone and he is the king. It's not me, but you know, that's what I feel like. Okay, now I'm gonna actually take it and see how far it can go. Perfect, I think it can go here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and lower this down, and I'll tell you why in a second. So I lowered it to about, I would say 15, 16 inches, and this is why. You want to place your floral netting at the height that's 50% of the total height of the flower. A lot of these dahlias are between 30 and 36 inches tall when they're fully grown, so they'll be up to here. So you want to make sure that you're at least the 50%, because this is wind protection, not only with, you know, just general plant growth, but I'm a little windy, can you tell? Is my hat tail flying in the wind? I'm on top of a hill. We have a lot of wind here. So this is doubling as protection from just the general growth of the flower getting heavy and leaning over, but also from the wind. So the plant will have its 4-inch section to move around in, but the idea is that it will prevent it from toppling over and breaking. So, yay! So you don't have to spend the money on these T-posts, and honestly you don't need ones that are 5 or 6 feet tall. You could get a 4-foot T-post. These are usually between $3 and $4, or you can, like I said, use the wooden stakes that you use to stake your tomatoes or something like that. But I think it's very important for those of us who are doing this on a large scale to make sure you're investing in something that's going to protect your crop. One windstorm would come through and I have hundreds, if not $1,000 invested in my dahlias this year. I can't afford to lose an entire crop to a gusty wind. So this is kind of insurance to make sure your blooms are going to last if there's a little bit of weather. You can never predict what's happening. Even the meteorologists are having a hard time predicting with all of this insane weather. So this is just like an insurance policy, making sure you have your floral netting. I use this on Gladiolus, not sunflowers. You do not need to net your sunflowers. They're pretty sturdy, strong, plus they're such a short season crop. Where dahlias, as soon as they start to bloom, you're gonna have blooms until your first frost. And I'm not even kidding you, your first frost, all of your plants will turn black and die. So you want to, if there's a frost in your forecast, and we are months away from that, believe me. But you know what? As soon as you see a frost in your forecast, if you have any blooms on your dahlias, go cut them, bring them in the house, sell them, enjoy them. Don't let them stay on the plant. So I use this on dahlias, snapdragons, gladiolas, anything that's tall and in a windy area. Sunflowers you don't need to do, like I said, but I'm not doing my bachelor buttons, I don't think. I don't think so. Oh, another thing about gladiolas is okay, so you know how a tomato plant, if a tomato plant lays on its side, it'll start to grow roots and then the plant will kind of curve and start to grow up? Tulips will do that too, actually. They won't grow roots, but they'll face their head to point the sun. So that's what gladiolas do. Gladiolas have such a tendency to tip over on their side, and then it'll be 18 inches of a stalk and then it'll start to go straight up. When you cut that for a vase, you can't use it because it's going, in the vase it's going like this, and then it takes a right turn, a 90-degree angle that way because it was trying to reach the sun. That's another benefit of staking your gladiolas. That way they won't lie down and then start to grow up, and it'll be a total waste of a stem. So I'm excited to see my gladiolas. I got a mix, so I got 2,000 corms mix variety. So each one's gonna be a surprise. And the best time to harvest your gladiola for a cut flower is after the first flower on the bottom blooms. So you know what color it is, and you cut it, and then while it's in the vase, those gladiolas will start to open one at a time. It'll last for up to 2 weeks in a vase. And when the flower at the bottom starts to turn, starts to go bad, starts to get a little brown, peel it off. Nobody will ever know it was there. You're fine. Okay, so that's about it for this video. I just wanted to show you guys very briefly how I net my my flowers. Also, because I bought a roll of this stuff, you can buy it in 50 foot, 100 foot, 1,000 feet. I bought a roll, I think it's 328 feet, and I also bought an additional 100 foot roll. And you could just, I'm just gonna cut, boom, just take a pair of scissors. You saw me do it over by the gladiolas. Just trim it and then move on to the next. If you're gonna be reusing them, I suggest you measure, but even if you do it now or at the end of the season, measure the length, and when you roll it up to save it for next year, put a little tag of masking tape on it that says 40 foot length or 30 foot length. That'll save you a ton of hassle come next season when you're trying to do this. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, if you have advice for me, I'd love to take it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you